A lot of the seats are like 90 to 100 feet from the actual field, which is really, really close, you know. Often, like, nets don't extend far enough past, like, the dugouts as well, you know.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for coming back to another recording of Foul Ball Safety Now Talks. I am Jordan Scott. We are in the beginning of April 2026. I'm with Brianna Ludwig, and baseball season is definitely happening. I am excited to bring on our guest host shortly, but before we do, as I usually would like to do, is recap how Foul Ball Safety Now started and then fast forward to where we are at today. So, Foul Ball Safety Now started back in 2019. I saw something very disturbing on television, on the news, which was involving a child. Somebody was hurt by a foul ball. And I saw at the time this was incorrect. And I was scratching my head is wondering why this would be a thing of children being exposed to serious line drives. Fast forward 7 years, I've been working with an investigative reporter by the name of Brendan now for 7 years. We've been collecting and interviewing all kinds of research and interviewing very much people that have been personally affected by the experience, victims, family members, people that really have a lot to say about the issue when only asked. And I believe that if all of us listened to these voices, we would have been making these changes long time ago. But we are still in the dark ages, 2026. Before we get to 2026, there's been a lot of effort from Foul Ball Safety Now to put this issue out there. I've rented out airplanes. I've been to court trying to make the right noise that will grab the attention of the fan base and almost shake them and wake them up and say, all the games you've attended to, it's never been unconditional fun. It's always been conditions and strings attached. And unfortunately, people, we call it at Foul Ball Safety Now, the less than 1% injured fan club. And, yes, there have been life-altering injuries. Thousands of people have had experiences which have changed them, whether they've been physically damaged or psychologically damaged or a combination of both. They are done with baseball. It's not the same for them. 99 point percent of the people may never even get wind of this negative situation. But once they learn that it could have been them, I believe they'll strongly empathize and sympathize that possibly they could have been sitting outside the ballpark, just talking to their friends, leaning on their car, or waiting to go inside a game where a ball comes out and hit them in their head like it commonly does come outside a ballpark in a 3 or 4-hour period. Maybe 10 to 30 balls could be coming outside and just willy-nilly hitting things. Not acceptable. Why business as usual is still allowing this to happen in 2026. And then the people, of course, inside the ballpark who, when they sell you sometimes at the games, be careful of foul balls. The last I checked, not superheroes and action figures. And once we all see that video from ESPN from 2019, it demonstrates no human being should be exposed to any of this. And bats, too. We still see broken bats flying into seats like boomerangs, like in 2025 playoffs, Seattle and Detroit. Broken bats coming over nets like boomerangs. And I can associate that with a case from 8 years earlier, which nobody knows about, a sad situation regarding a young child who was struck by a bat, an ESPN televised game at a major league ballpark. Of a child was unfortunately struck by a bat, and unfortunately, the team even on video, we all saw the video, nobody from the team stepped up and made the right move when it came to the aftermath. This family was left on their own. They had to go find their own attorney instead of the team demonstrating some sort of initiative or leadership to make sure that it would never ever happen again and tell the family that, and also bring out all their billionaire doctors to this family to make sure the child had all the proper treatment growing up. That wasn't the case. This family was left to go find their own attorney, and we got contacted years and years later as they're preparing for trial. Brendan, who's been with me now all these years, was asked to do research to help them prepare for their case, and that case ended up being settled, but it was years and years later, and unfortunately, this family, their settlement wasn't anything what should have been from day one. It was the last resort from the team to say, "Well, we'll give them a settlement." It was their last. They didn't even wanna deal with the issue from day one. They decided at the end that they would make the settlement, and this family got bare minimum care for the kid. Parents got nothing for lost wages. And it's just a sad legacy that baseball continues to provide the history books. And when people find these history books, and we'll have something to say about what everyone may have missed, people will scratch their heads and empathize and sympathize, hopefully with all of the victims and realizing it could have been them. So we're into another season. There's already incidences from a bat thrown into a net, Mets Pirates a few weeks back, and just a few days ago, Yankees and Marlins. You can see a line drive. Well, I'll start with the Mets and the Pirates. A bat goes into the net, and the announcers are making it like it was always a thing. Like, what's the worry? That there's a net there, and the bat got knocked down by the net. He made it sound like there was always a net there, and it's in places there may still not be nets, like in Seattle in 2025 during the playoffs where the broken bat made its way over the netting. People should go to the website and see, Mariners Detroit T-Mobile on my website. You can see the incident, and you even hear the announcer upon replay saying, "Yikes, look out." Going into the seats like a boomerang, steer your heart or neck or club you in the head. It's incredible that this is allowed to continue. We wanna let everyone know, and this new incident with this watching YouTube, watching Mets and Yankees, that's all I do. I put on YouTube and watch Mets and Yankees and abbreviated games, and the YouTube producers and directors apparently are finding stuff that will keep America watching these YouTube videos, which include close calls from bats and balls. And the Yankees and the Marlins, it was a situation a couple of days ago where there was a line drive down the line. And if it wasn't for a lucky catch by a fan, this other fan would have been taken out on a cart because it was 100 mile an hour off the bat and may have arrived at that glove at 100 or just less than 100 by the time it got there. And why is business as usual allowing lucky catches to be the only prevention for saving someone's life? Can we do better? So we'll get to all of it. It's always great to be here. Brianna, how are you today?
Doing great, Jordan. Excited to dive into this topic today. Obviously, very relevant. We've got new baseball season that just started and already shining the spotlight on some issues that we're seeing right in the beginning of the season. So, without further ado, I'd love to invite on our guest host for the day. He is a soccer social media content creator and background actor from the Bay Area. Luis Oriana, welcome.
Hey there, good afternoon, guys. How are you guys doing?
Hey, Luis, how are you? Good to meet you again, and we're excited to have you on. And we're ready for you to lead a discussion with us. How do you feel? You ready to go?
Yeah, I feel ready. Thank you guys for bringing me along onto the podcast. Really means a lot. I do love the movement that you guys are doing and what you guys are pushing to kind of get out there for the fans to know, you know?
Well, thank you. It's been worthy of my time, and certainly we all hope it's worthy of our guest times as well. So thank you. Ready to take it away?
Yeah. So I was looking like a lot of foul balls are like it's really dangerous. Like every season thousands of balls just fall into the stands, speeds over 100 miles per hour, which can like really like do some serious damage to someone, especially to the flesh or even be more deadly, like killing them as well, you know? And these fans
Yes.
have, like, less than a second to react, you know, like, they just see the ball and it's like, they don't have time to react, you know? And because of that, like, injuries happen way more than expected, like, around, what, 1,700 fans get hurt each year, and many of those injuries are serious, including, like, concussion, broken bones, and even life-threatening, like, head trauma, because a lot of them are, like, headshots, you know? And, like, the head is the most important, I would say the most important, part of the body.
Yes. So we've heard it's maybe because the way we're all situated at a ballpark, that the sitting position, your head or your chest area may be the most exposed as opposed to your waist and below. You mentioned a number that you may have gotten from a study. I sometimes cite that study, the Bloomberg study, about 1,750 fans may be injured every year. The statistics I go by are what we know and what we find out. There was an NBC investigative report that implied maybe 5,000 people reported to first aid between 2012 and 2019. And if you just went back 7 years, 8 years, and you did that over and over and over again, well, you know what? Maybe there would be a lot more injuries. So, for example, you would go from 2004 to 2011. Was there 5,000 implied people that reported to first aid? Maybe there were actually more because maybe there were less netting at the time. And then if you go back another 8 seasons, you would go back from 1996 to 2003 or 1995 to 2003. Similar, if NBC Investigations did a piece back then, would the number be 5,000 or would be maybe even a lot more? Based on what the team's data, who participated in that study from 2012 to 2019, those are over 8 baseball seasons. That's only including, by the way, the MLB, the 30 MLB clubs that play each other. It's not including 5 times as many more games in other professional leagues. So, I want the listener to do their own research and kind of figure out for themselves just how many injuries potentially they could be, or just even think about how many close calls there are. And we have something at the website called Exhibit A1. That's not the 5-minute video. That's the published report from 2019 that Brendan and we've incorporated our own research. You can almost retrace your steps as a baseball fan, certainly before 2019, and just figure out how many times did you sit in those particular zones where it said, for example, one of those graphics show 49% of the balls went into those areas, which could be considered the hot zones. And then you'll see just how many games there are every year. We took a number, we didn't even use the full number, we just cut it in half more or less. And in the other professional leagues, we realized it could be 350,000 foul balls every single season. And if 49% of them are going into certain hot zones, then wonder how fast they were going. So the website is an opportunity, Luis, to demonstrate how you can almost figure out maybe you avoided it because it's really only less than 1% of the people that will have those life altering experiences. But we're confident that the 99% who may have not been hurt, they'll realize why were we sitting in those hot zones all along, and then they'll get on board realizing it could have been them a day earlier or 3 weeks later. Something like that, Luis. Does that make any sense?
No, yeah, I mean, I totally understand because I mean, how you mentioned, like for the viewers to do like their own research, but also like kind of keeping on track of the database, you know, because it's like, I mean, there's always false like information, you know, you got to dive deep into it, especially like, let's say if it's like clinics or hospitals, like there should be like a report of like, oh, how they got injured or like what happened, you know, like kind of like adding it up, kind of getting like a tally number at the end to kind of show how many injuries there was this month, this week, or even the whole year, you know?
We try to do what we can. And again, what we're doing is we're reminding anyone who's listening to this that you could have been part of that negative experience just like that. And once people realize that there are people negatively affected all of the time. It's not a matter of if something's gonna get seriously injured, it's a matter of when, and that's unfortunate. We learned of a situation not too long ago of a young person in Seattle that may have been concussed. We're looking into that situation right now, and we're working on all of the details. And again, it's just another opportunity. What we do at Foul Ball Safety Now is to get the fan base and to get inquiring minds want to know, like you, to understand exactly what the true landscape was and always was and what it is today. And I really believe we're in the dark ages. We're in a position, even in the beginning of 2026, where we know it's not a matter of if the next person's gonna be hurt, but when. And that's sad to say that. And most fans are going to the game and they're not thinking they're going to be exposed to danger. And that's something we just wanna let them know that you are exposed to danger. You've always been exposed to danger. And what do you think about that? I hope that the fan base will demand to know exactly how they need to go forward once they get full understanding of this. I don't think they wanna be part of a statistic of getting hit or hurt outside a parking lot in some of these professional ballparks. Again, we're not just talking about the 30 major league teams, but we're talking about 169 other professional teams. They host games too at those ballparks. The sides are shorter, lower, and there's many balls hitting the pavement or the window or somebody in the head like it did in Modesto. We wanna let people know inside the ballpark, similar to that 5-minute video that they aired on ESPN in 2019, we can say easily that at the end of 2025, that at least 30 to 40 cities still had no netting in certain spaces 7 years after that video where balls go at 100 miles an hour. So, all ballparks really do need an independent inspection. Architects, engineers, and designers really need to take hold of what's happening within that business zip code where these professional teams are hosting games, and we're just really learning about colleges as well. Just a simple study showed less than 50 ballparks we audited by doing some Google Earth thing, and you can see all of them had some compromised issues, not just inside, but outside the ballparks. So, we want to eliminate the unknown factors. We want everyone to know exactly what to expect and know exactly what they're getting into. And I feel like once they really know exactly what's happening, I think then you're gonna finally see some change. Until then, our job is to put the awareness in motion. So, awareness in motion, epiphany of awareness. We just wanna let you all know what's coming. When you're going out and seeking a day of fun, we wanna let you know there's a lot of other things that go into it.
Yeah, we did peel through social media last year to try and audit some of the self-reported injuries because currently, as it stands, the MLB isn't required to report that data. So we found Reddit threads and videos on Instagram and TikTok of either injuries people have captured while recording a play, or they're sharing their own aftermath of their injuries and what happened to them and telling their story. So you can see last year's report on the website right now. And like Jordan just said, we've been made aware of an incident that happened already this season. So we've started on our documented fan injuries for 2026.
It's just like these numbers just keep adding up, every month, every week, and it's like there has to be a stop or like a prevention, to it, because it's like it's just gonna keep on going, and I mean, at least the more people that know, they'll try to avoid it. They'll be more cautious, They'll be more alert of what things are going on around them, as well.
We just want everyone to get a sense of what reality is. If they want to come to the game as adults and understand that 99% of the people won't ever be affected, and they're coming to the game with that attitude, well, that's okay. If they're adults, they understand that the new injury will be coming anytime. It's just around the corner. It could be that day or it could be, days later. But when you're bringing kids, you should have a different attitude. I don't think, the relatives, the fans who have a circle of family would be endorsing the fact that they're bringing, one of their relatives to a game who's underage. They know they're bringing their kid into a situation where they could potentially be hurt. I think all of us would look a little bit down on our judgment of our relatives. If I knew a first cousin of mine who's an adult was bringing his 6-year-old to a particular game and they were sitting anywhere in the ballpark, I would raise questions, to them, thinking, "You unknowingly bringing your child into harm's way?" But you see, most fans aren't knowingly bringing their children into harm's way. They're unknowingly bringing their children into harm's way. And my job is to let them know that now that you know more, you should really take a different approach. And you could certainly change the way business as usual goes at professional ballparks inside and outside once you're more informed. My job is to inform. I want to get people to raise their antenna and react. Brianna, who has a child who's almost 2 years old, I can't tell her to park the car in any one of these 169 parking lots. I can't tell Brianna to go into any one of these 30 major league professional ballparks because she hasn't been guaranteed a safe exit in and a safe exit out. Nobody at management can do that, Luis. Isn't that crazy? I want Brianna to know that she can come and she can leave, and nobody can tell her that she can do that from management. If they did, that would be a lie. So that's why we need to remind people of all that you've missed, and we have a lot of work to do.
I have way more information than the average person about what's actually going on. I've been working with this campaign for a year and a half. That's not fair that I should have more information than another parent who loves their children just as much as I love mine and is thinking that they're going to a game to give their child some fun memories and thinks that they're making a decision that's in the best interest of their family, but is not unaware of all this information that hasn't been shared and isn't readily available to the public. So, whatever we can do to make it so that it's common knowledge, the same way like most people who smoke a cigarette, I would say 99.9% of people know that the risks that they're taking when they decide to smoke a cigarette. It needs to be on that level of awareness because these are people's livelihoods. These are people's lives. It should be taken very seriously.
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, you guys did touch up on a lot of good stuff about like all these like bad things that are going on. I mean, even as well, like needing like these nettings like extended, like fans can't reach it, like in time. It's like they try to catch the ball at that high speed, like they won't be able to. Especially with like the amount of time to react is like very low. Very limited. Because as soon as they see the ball, it's just coming straight to them. And I feel like the netting is like the only real protection out like inside the stadium. But I mean, there's also more to it because a lot of the seats are like 90 to 100 feet from the actual field, which is really really close. And like often like nets don't extend far enough past like the dugouts as well. And I feel like a lot
I
of fans
bel
would support like a lot of the nettings to be like extended.
Absolutely, we wanna create the model experience that there's no more unknown factors. Brianna and her child know exactly where to go, where to park at some of the smaller places where the balls come over the side, where to go in, where to go get up and go have a snack, all of it, and not worry about coming inches away on a regular basis or potentially hurt on any given day. It's like there are near misses more than direct hits, but near misses should not be part of it. So we know of thousands of life-altering injuries, psychological and physical injury from foul ball experiences, and we know that there's been a lot more close calls, and management has left their business as usual. They've let their doors open, they've let their parking lots open, allowing these near misses to be part of the regular day experience. Near misses don't send people home. It's the direct hits that do. Nobody, when there's a near miss in a particular section, you'll hear people go, ooh, ah, and maybe a nervous laughter. Sometimes you'll even see an exploding beverage. And, sometimes that beverage could be a human being. And we have video, certainly that 2019 video. So we keep on getting more and more and more. It's more mud on MLB and all of professional baseball to continue on as business as usual as we go into 2026. We finally need architects, engineers, and designers to step in without MLB because MLB is not endorsing them. But we need architects, engineers, designers in every zip code to look exactly at the information, find out exactly where the balls go and how often, and create a community that we'll all be fine with. All baseball fans will be fine with. If there's still a risk or an element of danger, then so be it. Maybe you'll advertise these certain sections as 21 and older, but understand you may take a line drive to your face, but not allowing to bring the young guys in. I know there's sports or in like places like Spain, like running with bulls, you need to be 21 or of a certain age before you can run with bulls because of that obvious element of danger. You're not allowed to bring in the little guys. You can't just bring the little guys with you if you're going to take on that experience. And unfortunately, that's the way it's going down at MLB. Once we finally have these opportunities where people other than Brianna and I and Brendan to make the right noise, we will have the same status of the inevitable. Somebody's going to be smashed very soon. We've identified just from newspaper articles 45 kids since 2008 that had life-altering experiences from baseballs, and that was mostly accounted for at MLB games, but we believe that there's probably less media throughout the other games, the 5 times as many more professional games every single season, that we probably think the number is a lot larger, unfortunately. And that these are all preventative injuries, and we wanna stop it, and the families that have been affected by it, thousands of families who've been affected by this. 14-year-old boy died at Dodger Stadium. He died a few days after he got hit at Dodger Stadium in 1970, 14 years old. So, all of these things that we are learning, we will continue to put out there because this is worthy of all of our time. My job is to finally inspire the conversation where I'm a part of it, and then eventually where I'm not a part of it, because then I know we've now gotten everyone to talk about these issues. So that's exciting, Luis, and you're part of this with us. So thank you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, thank you guys again. I did want to also add to it. I mean, because I also do content with soccer as well. Because I mean, with soccer, it's dangerous as well. I mean, with the World Cup coming up, I hope like a lot of injuries don't happen, because I mean, these balls travel at very high speeds, especially like there's no netting in soccer as well or anything like that. They just have like they call them the ultras, or they're like the biggest fans of like that club. It's like they're just getting hit by the ball like repeatedly, and like how you mentioned, like at least for me, like the main concern is like the children, because like me as a parent, like I gotta look out for my children, make sure like nothing happens to them, and also like be able to, I don't know, support an organization like you guys to be able to like kind of put it out there and promote it for other people to like know about these risks that, I guess you could say taking, and like also what they'll be, I guess, experiencing if that's the case, if that any of those things were to happen as well.
Yeah, great points, of course. And that's what we have to do. We have to just continually put out information, new information, but we're continually attracting really cool guests People are going to discover our continuum. That's what they say this is, which is an ongoing discussion with new guests that come on, maybe not knowing much about the issue a few days earlier, but then opening up to exactly what we've been working on and trying to address and coming at it representing inquiring minds want to know, which I think you're doing, Luis, and you're doing great. So it's great to have you on, and we're just going to continue making conversation about this issue that is long overdue, that needs a lot more people other than the two of us, the three of us discussing. So we will continue going.
Everything seems pretty like straightforward with how you guys are going on about the movement, how you guys are giving out examples of like real life stuff that happened with like people, even kids included, it's like I feel like it needs to be more out there, Like I really hope this movement like is able to like really push out there more to like even people who don't even watch or like baseball, just like the sport in general, but this could also transition to other sports as well that have like their own risks, like maybe other organizations that kind of deal with the same thing as you guys do, but different sports. It's kind of like a community, like all working together as one.
We welcome all ideas, all direction on where to take this conversation because it's important. We know it's inevitable. I watch games on YouTube. I look for Mets and Yankees highlights on a daily basis. So that's just two games. There's another 13 games that I've missed because you do the simple math. If there's 30 teams, there's usually 15 games if they're all playing on that particular day. And I only look for 2 games. I like to look out for the New York Mets and the New York Yankees. I'm a New York Met fan. And just by watching Mets and Yankee games, just in the last 2 weeks since opening day, I found 2 incidents that we all need to be reminded about, whether it's silly commentary from the announcers, which gives us all a false sense of security, like nets have always been there to stop bats from flying. That was one incident between Mets and Pirates. That's not the case, and that's not always been the case. And it doesn't mean that the bat could not have went a few inches higher and made it over the net. But again, that's one incident. We can spend an hour on one incident. That's exciting because it's all worthy of a deep dive. And then another incident where it was Yankees and Marlins just the other day, where if it wasn't for a lucky catch by a fan, there could have been somebody right behind that person who could have been smashed. And why are billion-dollar organizations relying on luck to prevent serious injuries? How about real preventive measures? So that's what we can go in on and on about. And fortunately, I'm finding out these incidences just by watching 2 games a day, not watching 13. So imagine if I watched 13 other games. YouTube directors and producers are showing these things, at least for us to see, but nobody is reacting in a way that's coming to an epiphany of awareness to a place where this is horrible. It's on my radar. I want to get it on other people's radar because there should be more negative comments from just what we see. Certainly that broken bat incident in Seattle during the playoffs in 2025 when the announcer says, "Yikes, look out," when showing it on commercial. Not anyone on social media put 2 and 2 together that broken bat could have hurt you. There's a Mayhem commercial, Mr. Allstate, I think, or Mr. Mayhem. You see a bat fly over a fence into a window and break it. And that's been seen a billion times. Nobody associated that Allstate commercial with that incident in Seattle. But I do because I'm meeting guests, I'm meeting family members who've been affected by this, victims who've been affected by this, and even baseball players who Brendan and I have talked to over the years who are reflecting on their own experiences from years past and know that a lot more needs to be done. And me even finding new players to speak with, organizing small conferences, incentivizing group leaders to get groups of players together. I want to pay someone who's a baseball player who knows 5 or 6 people that wanna come every week and talk about their experiences. So that's still gonna happen because I believe those 5 or 6 players, some of them current, are gonna shine a light on the issue, and you need sometimes people within the rank and file or closely associated with the game to speak up about their own anxiety. They tell their own mothers and fathers about sitting in certain sections or at least the safest places. I can't even say any part of the ballpark is safe, but the parents have the inside track from the baseball players on where to sit, but the rest of us don't. So even the parents may be in conflict because they know a lot more information. As Brianna knows from our discussions on this project, she knows a lot more, but so do the baseball players' parents, obviously. They've been informed about where to sit, so maybe they're in conflict because they know other parents in other sections don't have the same inside information. So again, this is all very exciting and it's going to continue. And you're part of this with us, Louise. And it's always good to peel back the onion, no matter what we're talking about within this baseball situation. And it's exciting and it's great and great to be part of that with you.
Like, talking about reaction times and stuff like that, I feel like another one
Yes.
that it's kinda like, I would say fans kinda lack in a way, but it's like,
Hmm.
how do you say it? It's, I guess, like, being on their phones, like, being distracted, or
Hmm.
also being like, drinking, being drunk. You're not alert,
Hmm.
you're, like,
Hmm.
just drunk? And, like, also parents can't always protect the kids in time because it's, like, how the reaction time of the ball is coming super fast?
Yeah. What I simplified, it took me a few years, but I realized even with signs, inebriated or not, we're not action figures. We're not superheroes. We were not meant to get out of the way. If I'm a baseball player and I'm on my night off and I'm sitting there with my family and I haven't had a drink, I'm still not in a position to defend my family. So I kind of like to dismiss that reaction time, inebriated, talking on the phone could have prevented the injury. In reality, whether we were on top of our game, straight as an arrow, we're not getting out of the way of a hooking 100-mile-an-hour line drive. We weren't meant to defend our families or ourselves from these positions, from these situations. We're not action figures. We're not superheroes. So I don't wanna say that other things enable us to be distracted, the alcohol, the phone, all the other things. Staring without blinking did not help that umpire who was out for the entire season after he was hit, and he was 100 feet away, Luis. People can go to the Exhibit A2, the link at Foul Ball Safety Now. Hunter Windelstadt, who we just learned today, finally made his way back, which is good news. But he was out and maybe he didn't know if he was ever gonna go back to work. He was hurt in the spring of 2025. He was out for the remainder of the season. He's 100 feet away, Luis. He's staring without blinking. I'm sure he wasn't looking at his phone. I'm sure he didn't have a beer or 2. I'm sure he wasn't cuddling with his loved one. He was working. He was looking, and he got hit right between the eyes, and he was out. Unfortunately, he's back. So just 30, 40 cities we know of at the end of 25, and I have to call them, see if I, just for the sake of calling the box office to see if there were any upgrades. Doesn't mean that's a solution, but I know that with 30 to 40 professional cities in throughout professional baseball, similar to that 5-minute ESPN video in 2019, which demonstrated that no human being should be exposed to those line drives right past the end of dugouts. Well, there were at least 30 to 40 cities at the end of 2025 that I knew of that did not have netting past end of dugout. So I'm due to make a call to their box offices. They should be opening up soon in a few weeks. Usually MLB starts at the end of March, which they did, sometimes the beginning of April. And some of these other leagues start in late April, early May. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe they're even starting in a week. But either way, I should be making some calls because I like to know if anyone's done anything. Improvements are nice, Luis, but they're not solutions. You need the architects, engineers, and designers at all ballparks to render up a plan of action of this is how the nets are gonna look, this is how it's gonna prevent, this is where Brianna and babies know where they can go, parking, going inside, strolling around without a care in the world. If there are gonna be accidents, that should be slip and falls only. But these are not accidents. These are incidents. They're predictable, Luis, and we gotta stop it, and we gotta create a conversation that's undeniable, and you're part of this with us, and we're really excited that you are with us on this. Thank you.
No, yeah, thank you. I mean, how you said like these are incidents, you know, and like they're preventable. How you said, I mean, in the future, like when I become, I don't know, a father with a wife, like I want to be able to go to the game knowing like these incidents, all these like accidents going on. Like, yeah, that was all in the past. We learned from those mistakes, and we're
Right.
preventing them. Not we're not letting them happen anymore. Like, I want to be able to go to that park knowing that my kids are gonna be good. I'm gonna be good, like, I'm
That's it.
going in there good, and I'm coming back out good, you know? Like, I'm coming back all in one piece with, like, my family.
That's what it is, and that's where we're at. We're in the dark ages right now. We all hope we can say together, Luis, you remember those dark ages back in 2026 when business as usual was done a certain way, and we're like, "Yeah, man, yeah, that was that." But a lot happened since then, and then you go to the game, in a few years from now, whenever that may be, and we could all talk about that. But there's work to be done, and that's what we're doing, and you're part of this with us. And we're excited that you wanted to be the part of this with us, so terrific.
Luis, as someone who creates sports content for social media, do you think social media shows the full reality of sports or just the highlights and the more entertaining moments? And do you think that this issue has been well represented online?
For the first question, I mean, there's social media like influencers, content creators that kind of like highlight the good stuff, like the key points, you know, like for instance, when they're telling you to read a book and they tell you highlight the key points that you see in the book, it's kind of like they go for those little specific spots, you know. They only are showing the good. But there's other people like I would want to include myself as well, like where we include even the good and bad stuff. Like right now I'm in a movement, the organization to host pickup games around here in the East Bay since it's not really accessible. And I wanted to be play to play, not pay to play. Cause I mean, here in the States, it's like more pay to play soccer, or even other sports. You know, I want to be able to make it free and accessible for the youth, but also people my age. And sorry, can you repeat the second question that you asked me?
Yeah, I asked, do you feel that this issue of foul ball safety is well represented online?
I would say, to be honest, absolutely not. Like, there's not a lot of tension on it. Even there's not even a lot of support. Like, there's not a lot of people addressing like the situation. You know, like it really takes people with like having guts and being bold, like you guys, that are really like dedicated and love what you guys do for the safety of others and like for the safety of the people in the future and for the loved ones that have passed away in the past. You know, and it's like there has to be a real movement. There has to be a community of also people using their platform to kind of put that out there, you know?
Thank you. Very powerful stuff. Yeah, Brianna and we've been doing this for a while now, and you're really joining a nice group of people that are part of this with us. It's humbling, but at the same time, it's something I can do, and I'm in a position to keep on doing it, and I'm excited that I'm going to meet enthusiastic sound makers like myself that are gonna sound off on what should have been sounded off on, and, it'll be more of us. It'll be like a chorus, but the fact is that we're creating a library of these recordings so people can discover and bring on a new perspective once they hear, some of these conversations that we had. So, it's great that you've been part of this with us, Luis and Brianna, and looking forward to doing it again soon with everyone. Thank you.